So both guys have kind of mentioned that this bye week you guys have kind of utilized that the second half really starts now, since January wasn't as successful as you guys wanted it to be.
Yep.
How have you been utilizing that, saying that the second half really does start now?
Yeah, well, I think first of all is resetting yourself mentally and physically, getting a chance to kind of take a deep breath, knowing that the big push is on here in the last 8 games. So that was the first thing. The second thing is trying to get better every day in some of the areas that we need to do. And I talked a lot earlier on about specialty teams. You're seeing teams now that are living and dying on the specialty teams, Colorado College being one of them. Their power play is clicking now, and they're doing a good job of killing penalties. And again, I think that's going to be the make or break side of it, is making sure that those 2-minute increments in games where you're on the power play and penalty kill, that you're gaining momentum at least, if not scoring a goal or preventing a goal. The other things too are making sure that you're still playing solid defensive hockey. Like there's not a lot of time and space out there right now in the second half. Teams are playing more focused, committed. There's a lot more urgency and intensity that you can't take a step back and play away from the puck, and that'll lead to your offense. And again, a lot of times your offense leads from good defense, and again, we got to make sure we're mindful of that and working on that side of it.
How was the status of Rhett and the rest of the injured players here after the bye week?
Yeah, I'm going to be pretty transparent. Rhett's been through every day of practice this week. Looks like he's going to play this weekend, and I don't mean just playing. Like, he's all in, and he's been really good in practice. So, Rhett's been good. There's some situations with the rest of the group there. We're going to go through the week here and see where they're at. That it's trending the right way, but we'll get more information as the week goes on. But Rhett's all in.
What did him not being in the lineup mean to you, your team?
Well, I think a lot of things on a number of different levels. Rhett's a big part of our team. He was a big part of our team 2 years ago as a freshman, and progressively is even a bigger part now. And when you look on the penalty kill side of it, he's a huge guy winning the initial draw, trying to get it clear on that side of it. 5-on-5 and power play too. He plays all situations. He plays heavy minutes. He's a big body center that nullifies the other team's usual top line. So, he does a lot of things for us. And saying that, we haven't won since he's been out of the lineup. And I'm not saying it's because he's been out of the lineup, but he's a direct influence on our positive result in games. And again, it'll be good to have him back. Now, in saying that, it's not the cavalry's back and, we're good to go. Obviously, we have to make sure that we play well around him, and he's got to play his game. And I think the last thing about Rhett Gardner is his leadership skills. He's turned into a great leader on our team, in the locker room, off the ice, on the ice. And again, that's something that you need at this time of year.
Shane and Christian said that they have had the standings kind of hanging up in the locker room. How important is it, especially going into CC or some of those teams who are technically below you in the rankings, to kind of salvage a few extra points here?
Yeah, we don't, we look at the rankings and obviously the standings, every day. But the biggest thing is taking care of business and making sure that that everybody's on the same level right now. Like, you look at Colorado College, we don't consider them behind us. They're right with us right there, and this is a huge weekend as far as standings and pairwise. So it's a fight. Every weekend's going to be a battle. It's tight within our conference, and again, it's been like that for years, and we know that. And I think it's good that our guys kind of watch that every day, seeing where we're at, and making sure that they know that each weekend is very important. So again, like I said, it's one of those things that we look at statistically, but again, I think it's one of those things that you have to make sure that you do the right things on and off the ice to give you a chance to move up in those standings and pairwise.
How do you think you guys will be able to use the smaller ice sheet this weekend to kind of neutralize some of the teams that Colorado College plays with?
Well, yeah, I think that's a big part. In saying that, Olympic rink is, I think, 15 feet wider. When you look at power play, penalty kill, that's a big factor. But when you look at the 5-on-5 game, I think the biggest thing is managing pucks. It doesn't matter what size of ice rink you're playing on if you don't manage pucks and you play systematically the right way. So, like I said, I don't think the rink is going to have a big effect as far as the speed of a game. But I think the biggest thing is what we do with the puck when we have it.
Does it help you guys just play the team with some really high-end guys in Denver? Now you're playing a CC team with some really prolific top lines. help transition between the series that you just got done, slowing down some pretty good players?
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, Colorado College, like you said, have very good players. Their forward group is a very fast, skilled group, and it's one of those things where we're going to have to play similarly like we did against Denver, knowing that we have last line changes and matchups are going to be a key issue, and discipline's going to be even bigger. Like I was saying earlier in the press conference, their specialty teams are running pretty good right now, and again, it's one of those things where you can't let discipline get in the way or lack thereof of power plays and penalty kills. And again, like I said, if we're playing 5-on-5, that's what we want. And again, if we get on special teams, we have to make an added concerted effort of winning that battle.
How do you think some of the underclassmen like Rieger and Kierstead have used the extra time they've gotten this year to further their development? And how do you think that's going to benefit you guys here down the stretch run?
Yeah, I think they've utilized it and maximized it in the best way they can. And, they're progressing, they're growing as players in our group here. And again, when you look at injuries and the adversity of having that, the positive side of it is these guys getting quality minutes and growing as players. So they've done a good job that way. We've used Casey Johnson as a forward, and that's a situation where you have that in your back pocket where he can become useful at the end of the year if we need him in that role. So again, like I said, the injury situation has provided us with some information and guys growing in each and every way.
Did you notice when you guys were out in Colorado Springs, did they try to take advantage of matchups with their big line?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I thought the Gooch line was always against our top line, and I think they did a good job of matching up on that side of it, and also the deep pairs too, against our top line. So it's one of those things. You're coming into our building now, and their forward group is very skilled and very fast, and obviously their top line especially, and we're going to have to make sure that whoever plays against them knows that they're on the ice, and that we make sure that we try to inhibit them from getting into our zone.
Do you have any Red Gardner? Is he possibly available this weekend? I don't know if anyone asked already.
Late to the party, Shows.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
2 words, all in. He's all in. He's all in. He's all in. No, he went through practice here and he didn't miss a drill, and he looks good. And part of that too is anytime that you come from an extended break, sometimes you look like maybe you're out of shape or you haven't played in a while. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat since he left. He's maintained his body in great shape, and he looks like he's going to start where he left off.
It's got to be nice to have him come. Since his freshman year, he's played that shutdown center kind of for you guys.
Yeah, he has, and like I said earlier in the press conference here too, he impacts our group on the ice, off the ice, in the locker room. Everywhere he impacts our group, and I'm not saying we haven't won because he hasn't been in the lineup, but I tell you what, he impacts the game in a lot of ways where it's good to have him back in our lineup again here.
You talk about how important getting net front is, especially against a goalie like LeClaire and against Colorado College in general. What are some ways that you guys can maybe get a lot of net front presence against them this weekend and try and generate some more goals here?
Well, I think first of all, getting entry into their zone, having the puck, establishing the puck, protecting the puck, and then obviously having a shot first mentality. I think sometimes when you get in the offensive zone, you try to get a little bit too pretty sometimes, and you try to make an extra pass or two. I think what we have to do is have a shot first mentality, and off entry have guys going to the net. And once we establish OZP, we got to make sure that we have a guy at the net front to take away his eyes, obviously. I think it's not only LeClaire, but other goaltenders in our league and around the country. Goaltenders are so good right now, unless you have that net front presence, it's going to be tough to score. You have to be there, whether it's LeClaire or any other goaltender in the country. You have to have a guy going to the net or in front of the net.
When you guys recruited Willan, he hadn't played D for a whole lot in his career. What made you guys think that he could play D at this level?
A lot of different things. How smart he was as a hockey player. His skating ability is elite. And as you know, in the NHL and in college hockey now, if you're an elite skater, the chances of having success are great. And obviously the bloodlines too. I mean, coming from a dad that had a long and storied NHL career, that that he was nurtured in an environment that was a hockey environment that lends to itself having success. So I think there were a lot of things that were getting in there, and then obviously the last spot getting checked, but most importantly is being a great person, and a hard worker, and again, just kind of going through there. those steps, we thought he'd have a great college career. And again, I think he's went through some adversity in that transition part of it, going from forward to D. It was tough, but he grew as a person and as a player. And I think when you look at his freshman year to where he is now, how he's grown developmentally as a player and as a person, it's exponential as far as what he's done in growth. So again, like I said, it's a great story. And again, Tucker Pullman, kind of the same thing. He was a forward in high school, and look what happened to him playing D and going through a junior and college career.
Have you ever considered moving back to Fort because of his offensive imagination is unbelievable?
Yeah, you know what? If you would have asked me probably on those 3-on-3s against Denver, probably would have kept him out there the whole 5-on-5 or 5 minutes and kept him out of the forward position. But no, those are situations. I think down the road, pretty open to if nothing's going on in a game offensively or different things like that. I think down the road that could be a possibility too. And I think if you probably asked him, he'd be all in for that.